Being at least a 2.5 hour drive to the nearest coast, it's not very often I get the chance to try my hand at seascape photography. But when the opportunity arose to organise the next Thumbs Up Photography Facebook group meetup, I was very quick to jump at the chance of visiting South Devon, more specifically Ayrmere Cove. Plans were set and a 2-night stay was booked in Paignton, in a hotel with quite possibly the smallest lift I've ever seen. All I'll say is, it's a good job Steve and I are good friends. After a couple of pints and pizza at the local Spoons, we headed back to the hotel to get an early night's rest before meeting the group the following morning. Ayrmere Cove is a quintessential Devonshire coastal location, with silvery white cliffs backed by lush rolling hills and characterful rock formations, that we hope would be the basis of a great weekend's photography. The only question is, would we get the conditions we were hoping for? Well, we did get the briefest of colour in the sky. Didn't last very long, but we do have a nice sort of blue, sort of moody tone to the scene, which actually I think works really well here. And yeah, like I say, somewhere I've never been to before, but it's a beautiful location. For the composition here, I think it's probably one of the classic compositions from this area at Ayrmere Cove. And I'm placing this pointy rock here on the pretty much the bottom left-hand third, which kind of leads the eye to the rocks right in the background. But I'm being very careful with this cliff face on the right-hand side. I don't really want any of that in because it makes the image far too right-hand heavy. So yeah, just playing with exposures as the light, as the sun comes up. I'm currently at 1 second of an exposure. If I can get it a little bit lower, I'll be much happier. If I can get sort of around half a second, I think that will be the sweet spot for this location, because we have got some nice crashing waves at the moment, and I want to try and capture some of that movement. So yeah, just gonna rattle off loads of shots, and if any of those work out, I'll pop them on screen. I really wish I'd remembered to bring my remote shutter, because I think this would have actually been the perfect place to use it. Just waiting for those perfect waves to come through, and what I'm trying to do is get them where they're basically starting to recede back towards the sea. You get that nice dragging effect of the water. But I had a brainwave, I just remembered I've got an app for the camera. It's the Sony Imaging Edge app. So I'm going to try and set that up now. Never seems to work particularly well, to be honest. But I'm going to try and set that up now and basically use that as my remote shutter so I can capture the waves at exactly the right time. And just to explain as well, I've gone into a portrait mode now. And the reason I've done that is because I'm getting more of the water in the foreground here. I'm not going to go for the full crop. I might crop off the bottom here at least, and maybe some of the sky, maybe go for a sort of like a 4x5 crop, or even maybe a square. I don't know until I get back into post. But it's starting to get a lot lighter now, so I might need to start putting filters on. So I'm at 0.4 of a second, and yeah, it looks quite nice, but I think actually I want just it to be a little bit longer. So I might have to get the filters out, and I've got a new filter that's been sent to me by Freewell. So I want to test that out this morning and see how that works out. So as I mentioned, Freewell were very kind to send me a new filter to try out. It's a hybrid filter called the V2 of a CPL, circular polarizer, and a variable ND. Now, most people I think will probably use this for video, and that's probably what I will end up using it mostly for. But I thought as we're here today, maybe I could use it for photos as well. And yeah, it comes in a beautiful little case, as you can see there. Really nice sturdy case. And then it opens up here like this, and you have this little sort of pull thing. If you pull that up, it pulls out the filters and all the other bits and bobs and all the other gubbins that are in there, which is really good, really handy. Then you just pop it back down and you pop it away. So yeah, much less faffing around than yeah, some filter cases. So yeah, jump straight into it. This is the filter that they sent me. It's a CPL and a variable ND in one. So it's a magnetic system, and yeah, it's been very well thought out. So it comes with a lens cap on here, nice solid metal aluminium cover, and it comes with a little pull ring here. So you know, if you're faffing around in the dark like we were this morning, if you wanted to get this off, you know, you just pull that out and you can easily just attach that from the filter, and you've got the filter itself. As I say, it's a variable ND and a circular polarizer in one. So I'll talk you through how you actually use this on the camera. So basically what you do is you buy a magnetic sort of adapter in that you put on the front of your lens here. I haven't actually got the size that I need for this particular lens. This is my actual case one, so I'm going to use that one instead. It kind of works but doesn't. It holds on place with the magnet just fine. So we'll use it for now with the shot that I've got framed up. Just to show you, it does actually come with their own sort of adapter rings here, which you just screw onto the lens. This is a 72mm, but this lens is actually 67mm. So yeah, I've got a way around that, as I say. Basically what you do is you get the filter here, put it onto the magnet on the front of the lens. Then what you do first is actually set how much level of polarization that you want. So by putting it on here, you'll see you've got these screws here. Now you just look at the back of the camera and twist the actual filter and choose how much level of polarization that you want. Now with this particular scene, I don't want a lot of polarization, because what it's doing is, with the CPL, it's actually taking out the shine on this immediate foreground rock, which is really adding to the scene, I feel. So I don't want a lot of polarization, so I'll probably put it somewhere around there. And then once that's set, you basically would screw in these two screws on top and bottom to make sure that's really fixed to the lens. Then you can start to dial in how much of a ND that you actually want. So I'm thinking around a 2-second exposure here. So I've set to ISO 100, f16, to try and get front to back sharpness in this particular scene, because I'm at 100mm. And yeah, with that, I can then basically set in 2-second exposure on the back of the camera here, and then just dial in exactly how much ND I actually want. So it's here, 3-stop to 7-stop variable ND. And I could just basically twist that front ring basically until I get the meter on the camera to basically where I want it to be. So yeah, once you've set the actual exposure and you're happy with that, like I say, I'm using my phone this morning as a remote shutter, so wait for the right wave to come through and take the shot. Freewell were also very kind to send me a snow mist diffusion filter. I didn't bring it with me on this particular trip because I'm shooting these sort of coastal scenes, but I'm really looking forward in the next few weeks to getting that out in the woodland and see how it performs. I've seen some reviews of that filter already, and it works really well when you've got bright highlights. It gives a sort of bloom effect. So I'm thinking on a sort of nice foggy morning in the woodland, and you've got some highlights coming through, you should get some lovely blooming effects, just adding a bit of a sort of mysterious look to the woodland images. Also within the case, you get this hockey puck, best way to describe it, with A and B on it. And what that does is allows you to forget taking the case with you on a trip. So if you're trying to save weight, or you've got limited room in your camera bag, with the A side there, you can basically put it on the back of the filter, and with the front one on it as well, you've got that small filter set that you can just throw in your bag, and it keeps it really well protected. So yeah, what a fantastic idea. Really, I don't know why I've not seen that before. Just literally throw that in your bag, and that's your filter set for a whole day's shooting. From 3 stops up to 7 stops with polarization as well. Fantastic idea, love it. And also within the case, Freewell are very kind to provide a lens filter cloth, which you just throw in the box here, and yeah, just a nice little touch. Really well designed product, really well built. It feels absolutely solid. Very, very happy with it. Also, just one other thing as well, you have a little carabiner clip there to clip onto your tripod if you need to, or your bag. Keeps it nice and secure. So if you are interested in purchasing the Freewell V2 hybrid system with the variable ND and the circular polarizer in one, there's a link in the description below. Go and check it out. Right, I'll come over. Sorry. Right, I'll come over towards the cliffs now, and I've got these 2 rocks here, massive one on the right hand side and smaller one distance, and Paul just got absolutely soaked. You've really got to be careful. I put the 20-70 lens on. I'm in at around 24mm. Every now and then, as you just saw with Paul, a massive wave comes through, and then as it recedes back into the sea, it is lovely streaks leading through the rocks there. In portrait orientation, I'm probably going to take a little bit off the bottom of the scene, just waiting for the right wave to come through. So rather than talk to the camera, I'm going to try and get these shots. If any of them work out, I'll pop them on screen. Right, I've taken another image now, portrait orientation, placing the rock here, right in the centre of the frame. What I'm doing is pretty much what I've been doing all morning, waiting for the waves to come in, and when they retreat, capturing that beautiful movement of the waves leading into that rock there. Really nice minimalist scene. It looks beautiful on the back of the camera. I just hope that translates to a really good looking photo when I get back in post. I'm sure it will.
I'm not usually a massive fan of black and white images, but this one really stood out to me as an image that would work really well in black and white. There wasn't a great deal of colour in the scene anyway, but those lovely streaks from the waves at the front of the foreground there, set against the darkness of the actual sand, leading into that main central rock, really stood out as a really nice, minimalistic, kind of fine arty sort of looking image. Really happy with how this image turned out. Let me know what you think in the comments.
So I've joined Colin and I'm trying to reshoot a shot that he shot a few years back, and it's an absolute beauty of a shot. So yeah, sorry I'm stealing this composition, but I think it's worth it. Basically, throwing my 10-stop filter on, I'm getting about a 45-second exposure. So really just destroying any detail in the water. But there's these tiny little rocks in the background here. I've just been very careful with the camera placement, just to make sure there's enough separation between the different rocks. And it looks really nice. It looks really like, because with the waves that we have, it looks misty. And you just got this beautiful, really minimalist scene of these rocks and this mist surrounding it. It doesn't look like I'm on the beach. It looks like I'm got a telephoto lens on and I'm shooting out to some peaks in the background amongst the clouds. Beautiful shot. Paul was about to do something behind me. Git. But no, I'm really happy with this. Let me pop this on screen now. We've come back down to Aramere Cove and yeah, we're hoping to stay here for sunset. It's a couple of hours away, but we thought we'd come down nice and early, try and frame up some compositions, and I'm glad we did, because we have got some nice, well, quite soft light, to be honest with you. And there were some nice crepuscular rays out in the distance there. So framed up a few compositions, involving these rocks as a foreground, and again, doing what we're doing this morning, letting the waves come in, and as they recede, using my phone to take the shot. As you can see, we're right on the water's edge, so I'm starting to get quite wet feet, but I'm sure I'll be fine, just being very careful. So yeah, framed up a couple of shots already. I won't talk you through the compositions, I'll just pop them on screen now, let me know what you think. So yeah, it's going to spend, literally, as I say, an hour or so, just walking around, framing up different compositions, and just see what happens with the light, with the conditions, and see what happens when the tide changes as well. So let's see what happens. So we're all pretty much photographing that main rock there now, which is proving to be a bit difficult, because I started off to the left there because you get the nice face of the rock and there was some lovely light on it. But when you do that, you get a lot of these cliffs in the scene and it just feels a bit unweighted. So I've come round a little bit just to give a bit more isolation to this central rock here. Putting it pretty much centrally in the frame, putting the sky in the top third, as I said, the rock in the middle of the frame, and then just again, taking these waves as they start to recede back into the sea, taking an exposure of about 2 to 3 seconds, and you just get those lovely streaks through the scene. Looks really quite nice. So let me put those on screen for you as well. Yeah, as the sea is coming in a bit more, we're just having to adapt to the conditions and just try and find different compositions. It's very challenging, to say the least, but great fun.
I didn't video it at the time, But just after this piece to camera, we got the smallest break in the clouds for all of a few seconds, and I managed to grab my favourite image of the day. From the worn tones kissing the side of the rock to the streaks in the water, everything came together in the briefest of moments.
Right, so I'm still using the main rock there as the main focal point to this picture. I've come over more to the right and back a bit because the sea is coming in at quite some rate. And yeah, I put the main rock on the left hand third, and then I put his little cousin, is what I'm calling him, on the bottom right hand third. And yeah, it balances quite nicely against each other. Going for quite a long exposure on this one because I just quite like that sort of dreamy look on this one. So it's about 30 seconds, f14, ISO 100, and it's just a really nice simple scene. So I'm going to put that on screen now, but really struggling. It's a great location, but because you've got so many distractions in place, as I mentioned earlier, you've got the cliffs on the right hand side here, so if you go too far to the left, you're kind of looking back on the cliffs and it all looks very right hand heavy. So you need to be over this side, but when you come over this side, I would say the rock doesn't look quite as good as it does when you're further over there, so it's a compromise. By the way, do you like my hat? My mother-in-law knitted it for me. It's even got MH Landscape Photography on it. So yeah, thanks to the mother-in-law for that. Love it. I think we're done now. It's pretty much dark. So I really hope you've enjoyed this episode. If you have, please consider hitting the like button. And if you really enjoyed it, it would really help if you subscribe to the channel. And don't forget, if you are interested in the Freewell filters, I'll put a link in the description below. Go and check it out. Thank you so much for watching. See you soon.